Cool. So I kind of wanted to talk about, well, a whole bunch of different things, but I think I'm going to make this video more about knowing and having artists that are friends. Before I ever did any Comic Cons or any markets or any events where I put myself out there as an artist, I was just in my room constantly working, constantly trying to do better. And long story short, I got a job, part-time job while I was studying, and I worked in a tattoo studio. And what that kind of put into gear was having people that do art or anything art related or creative around you while you are doing art is way more beneficial than being on your own or having anything else or any other sort of things going on. Let's just say the opposite. It's far better to have artists and people around you and that know you, because this kind of, it doesn't take you from level 1 artist to level 100 artist, but it does progress you further at what I would say is a slightly faster, smarter pace. You know, it's like if I work on a piece of art and I look at it and I get up and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, okay, flip it, look at this, do this. That's one thing. But somebody else coming in and looking at it, it immediately looks different to them. And if they draw or they paint or they do something similar to you, then it's going to be far easier to spot out the differences, especially when they're more experienced. I kind of like the idea of being not necessarily the least experienced, but I guess you can say not being the most skilled person in the room, because that means that you're always going to learn. There's always going to be something that you can take and that you can grow from. So moving on, I left there and started doing art on my own, and I started focusing on the artworks and pieces and stuff that I wanted to do and that I enjoyed. Fast forward to the first Comic Con that I ever did. I was on my own, and it was a new experience, and I was nervous and I didn't understand things and I couldn't gauge what the feedback would be like of people seeing the art and how they'd feel and what was going on in their brain, what was going on in my brain, etc, etc. And then I found some real cool artists, which I can now safely call my friends to a certain extent. I love them, I love everything that they're doing. I speak to them all the time. I speak to them on Instagram or on occasion, or they'll have events, or I'll see them at events, or we'll just support each other and toss in a hat of advice or love or support where necessary, and you need that. That's the point of this video. Having people in your corner that are in the exact same industry or group and view themselves as a creative and understand the journey, the struggle, the drive, everything that's required for this and for being an artist, pushes you, and it kind of gives you more confidence. Because you're not the only one. You're not the only person that has to go through these things, and there are people that have done there are people that have done this before you. There's other artists that have been in the game way longer than you, doing all sorts of things before you've ever done it, and that is reassuring. That's a good thing. It doesn't necessarily have to mean anything sort of on a competitive level. I think to me, when I see someone that is super skilled and super talented, it just means that that is possible and I can get there with time, work, and effort. That's all it is. So shout out to all those people. I don't know if you'll see this video or if it will show up or if you'll get it. Maybe I'll send it to them. But got to meet and talk to a whole bunch of different artists. So in Artist Alley and Comic Con, I was lucky and fortunate enough to be in what will always be one of my favorite alleys, with a whole bunch of people that I love, that I got to know. I love all their work. I've got some of their work up on my wall. And also, side thing, it's just so cool to know, to have art up and know who did the art and know the work and effort and stuff that they put in to make that happen. Super cool. But talking to these guys, talking to these people, and just having conversations and relating over work and understanding what it takes on certain pieces, talking about it, asking what their mindset and their process was. It kind of feels like an out-of-body experience, because it feels like what you would ask yourself if you weren't an artist, or if you took yourself out of the equation and you looked at yourself while working and going through this process. And it gives a certain level of understanding and appreciation, because like I said, there are other people that are going through it and they support and they vibe with everything that you've got going on, that you're doing. And part of that is also, you know, we as artists sit in our rooms, like I previously mentioned, and be alone most of the time. To be able to, let's say, look on Instagram or message somebody and they know, like, hey, I know you're hustling, I know you're working, I know you're drawing, I know you're doing the things. It makes you feel like you're not alone, and it makes you feel like you've got this, like you can do this, like you can work on these pieces and you can just keep going and keep going. And when you see them again, you can have an amazing conversation and you can talk about what it took and all the fun that you had, all the fun that you could have had, or what didn't work out for you, what you didn't like, those things. So these are kind of the reasons why I feel like having artists as friends, or knowing artists, if you are an artist, is beneficial, right? They can positively review, critique, look at your work, they can give you advice, they can tell you what's the best way to go about things, how to get something framed, how to color. I've literally gone to not even friends or not even people that I've known from the last Comic Cons, but I've even had the confidence to go up to other artists that I would say is kind of internationally or well known, and ask them what they do and ask them their process, and even they give their input and they give feedback and they talk about what things are or how things are for them. And that is super beneficial, incredibly beneficial. It's like if I have an issue and it's very specific to, or what I think is very specific to me and how things are, and then I go and talk to somebody I know that's an artist and they say they had that issue like last month and this is what they did. It prevents me from having this mental block or this issue that's in the back of my head that's constantly drilling at me, going, this needs to be solved, this needs to be figured out. And it helps you grow and progress. You know, it's like you've got an artwork and there's all sorts of different things going on in the artwork, but there's also challenges and obstacles in the artwork. What if you can talk to people and get feedback that can help you go through those challenges and obstacles faster than what it would take you to do on your own? And that's the point of this video, right? It's about progression and understanding and knowing that that thing that you're trying to figure out, someone else has maybe figured it out already, and someone has a solution, or even just better way of doing something that you're doing. Now, there are things that I do that I know take longer or isn't the best way to do it, but I still like to do it, and that's a different conversation. But yeah, not to dilly-dally too much. Why would I say dilly-dally? But just like my points were, understanding, getting clarification out of something, being able to work through obstacles, being able to progress, being able to have someone that looks at your work that's also an artist and that understands how things could be. Like for a lot of my art, it's very dark and it's very I try to push more towards dark video game stuff. It still needs to be a bit darker. It's not getting there, but it's over time it will get there. And recently I've been doing something where I do pen, pencil, pen, pencil. And I worked on a commission and someone just gave me the suggestion, hey, why didn't you just combine everything? And recently I've been combining it and the results are what I would say is far better. And it's something so simple, but I've never thought about it that way because I've just been so head on tunnel vision, focused on what I'm doing. And that's how it is, I think, for a lot of people. So having someone that can take you out of that, or having another artist that can take you out of that situation and put you in a much better headspace to kind of understand and better what you've already got, and like maybe it's here and take it even just there or here, influential. So that was just my little tidbit on the power of having artists as friends, and I think it's truly beneficial. If you like anything that I just said or yapped on about, please feel free to subscribe. You can chat about anything or ask me questions in the comment section. And as always, thank you for all the support.